Yeah, it was amazing, huh? I was
Yeah,
really impressed, but how they took. I think they could. There is a scenario in which both singers will stop appearing as persons, but only appearing with their avatar, because it would extend their. It can potentially extend their lifetime as singers, so they don't age anymore, and they can change style, looks, brands, etc. Much easier than in real life.
I can see that. It's also it's easier to support like an ape or a made up figure than like another human. I've seen like a study with that.
Yeah, it's a bit neutral compared to humans, so potentially they could uh, they could go very very far, or it can be just a fad. I think it will go far. So basically, today we're gonna speak about NFTs with the floor price. Um, the idea behind John Blackeye and the Board Yachts Club was initially to be able to bring real value to the NFT space. If you look at most NFTs at the biggest collections, um, they have a lot of value in them, but it is based on future and potential and things that will happen, or on subjective elements like the art and the community, etc. And what I try to do with John Black Eye is basically combining these two elements instead of being a pure digital aspect of it, which has much more potential than the real life aspect, is combining these. And I think by combining real yachting experiences with a yacht verse that has potentially every element of the traditional NFT space, the idea was to bring a kind of floor price. And I wanted to discuss today a little bit the floor price about NFTs, like they have been dropping a lot and spiking a lot. So, what is the floor price of an NFT? What's your take on it, Drew?
I mean, a lot of these, I don't think there is any floor price. I don't think there's any like initial inherent value. Um, I think it's just all made up. And working on a lot of these NFTs, I've been like on the front stage of having to just see how these people just make kind of keep this Ponzi scheme going of just making this fake utility and seeing trying to make a inherent floor price out of nothing that's kind of just thin air.
So where do you think there is? How do you differentiate between a Ponzi scheme and a non-Ponzi scheme?
Well, I think everything's a Ponzi scheme when it comes down to it, but at least with projects that have inherent real life value, there is some. You have a easy utility that's graspable. That's people not in the Web3 world can understand where the inherent value comes from.
Yes, but if you look at the Bored Ape Yacht Club community, if you look at it from the beginning, you can say it was a Ponzi scheme, but at the end, it brought value. and it is still bringing value to its community. So the switch from Ponzi to non-Ponzi in this crypto world can be very delicate and very subtle. Like if tomorrow they try to do it, like you copy paste all the apes and you bring them to market. The same, you follow the same path, you make a copy of them. Is it a Ponzi scheme or is it bringing value? Because at the end, you're doing exactly the same thing as what they did.
Yeah, I think a lot of I watched like the whole NFT space like blow up from like nothing, and before, like when Bored Apes, like a month before they came out, I remember people talking like believing in like the theory that people will use like their profile pictures as a flex. So just like the reason that people buy like Van Goghs and like 50 million art, just so they can show their friends in their dining room. But a profile picture lets you flex to everyone. So it's like the ultimate form of flexing. And I didn't really believe it at that point, but now it's blown up way more than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an amazing use case in terms of flexing. It also defines an identity, like being an art collector myself. I know that the art I have chosen is the art that speaks to me a lot and that has a connection to me. So it's an identity also when you're showing your NFT as a collection. But like art, also you have difficulty finding a floor price. What is the floor price of art? Which is something very intangible, and there has been a lot of Ponzi schemes in art. There's there's a very famous story in France that happened where some auctions made a deal together to hype up the price of a painter, and he became famous out of nothing, just out of the hype. And and it's funny also that if you look at the art industry, all the bad things that the crypto industry is accused of, they are common business in the art industry. So market manipulation, insider trading, big whales, all the big artists have patrons behind them that support the art and support the price, basically. So they make sure that the floor price doesn't go below, which is not the case yet in NFT. So that's a big thing that is missing, in the sense that um, we don't see floor prices or big NFT collectors supporting the prices of the collection in which they are invested, or supporting the artists. And I think this is something that can come. I don't know if you have seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it in the early days. There was definitely some people from the art world that were like fake bidding, and just like propping up the floor price, but it's definitely not as much. Uh, and with the good thing about on chain, you can always track it back. So if it is, then you can tell that someone is doing it pretty easily.
Yeah, but supporting it can be two ways. Basically, you can do it by showing a bid and saying that I'm supporting it, which also brings value. Like in finance, Warren Buffett is very outspoken about his investments, and they tend to perform because his outspokenness opens the eyes of other people around it. So the transparency can be a positive thing, not necessarily a negative thing.
For sure. And I wonder in the crypto world too, like a bunch of the big influencers, I wonder if it was actually going to go up that high, like the price, or if it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy when they tweet it out. If because then it explodes if they're always right, or if people just follow their calls.
Mm, true. But anyway, to come back to our project, so basically, um, we're gonna have a yacht, and people will get an NFT that will give them access to the yacht, but also to a yacht verse. So, how do you see it taking place, basically, in terms of perception compared to NFTs without real life benefits, I would say? Um, I believe this is definitely a floor price that will give it, or at least we hope that it will give it, because at the end, it is something that is valuable in real life. So it's like you can, people are paying for it, so it has value. And therefore, when you're buying an NFT like this one, you have the security of the bottom, or to have a kind of price resistance. It's not like guaranteed, but it's like it shouldn't fall below a certain level unless something's changed or stuff evolve. But offering something like that should have a resistance price with all the upside that traditional NFTs can offer.
Yeah, I think it's an exclusive membership to a yacht that, but the main gimme here I think is just the people that we're going to be around. Obviously, like you, Jod, like High Finance and the like Best Networking Group, and the for the first time you can sell that membership too. So I think it encourages everyone to contribute to the community as much as possible.
Yes, in order to contribute to the community, basically, what we thought of is to issue coins, basically, that would be yacht coins, and airdrop them to people who participate in building the community. Do you see like different passes or different collections doing the same?
I think what a lot of like NFTs haven't done well is like to incentivize people to contribute to the community. Obviously, like the NFTs, just trying to contribute to raise like the floor price is like the main contributor right now. But if people use coins in a way to reward users in the Discord, reward users who are contributing to make the project better, I think that's like a definitely an untamed thing that no one's really mastered yet.
Yes, and me, when I look back at the 2000 .com bubble, and we're kind of living the same thing today with all this crypto crash that has been for a while now. Um, I remember having bought Amazon myself, and then it went from $20 to like $80, and then it went back down to 30, and I sold it, and I regretted it ever since because I didn't stick to my convictions. So when I started looking at about how we can build something around NFTs, I thought about like what can NFTs bring that is here to stay on the long term, beyond the hype and beyond the craziness. And that's why I believe that NFTs with floor prices or with a kind of physical value, like real life value combined with digital value, will definitely be the future. Like it can be in even in shoes, in all kinds of apparel. But at least you have like some sort of floor on which you know that you're getting value for your money. It's not like only about casino playing and we're all gonna make it type of clientele, basically.
Yeah, I'm curious what do people in your high finance world, what do they think of NFTs?
Oh, silly JPEGs, I would say, because I mean, you have to be. Before I discovered Discord, for example, I was struggling to understand the use cases of NFTs. So my Discord was a big part of my conviction, like all the technology, being able to access chats thanks to your pass, having this whole technology that comes on top of and that is built on top of the NFT space. You have to be very into tech and gaming and chatting to be sensitive about it. My high finance environment, I would say, is not very tech, not very gaming, and not very sensitive, I would say. So the most interest I see is from the young generation, basically 15 to 25, I would say 30, or from financial people like me, but that look at it as a like they look at the stock market. So so I know people who just trade them based on signals they have developed using quantitative models or discretionary based on what's getting hyped, the research they make, etc. I also noticed that there's a lot of flipping or flippening going on. So a lot of people are there just to make a buck. Basically, they don't really care about the technology or the art or the community or even in the Bored Ape Yacht Club chat. If you look, there's a lot of exchanges about how can we make money and how can we flip NFTs and how can we chill our NFT, etc. So everybody's like trying to sell and trying to make a buck, and very few are trying to build. And that's why developing this project, I looked at how can I build something, not just for the casino players, I would say, but for that would make a real life difference. So basically, by putting by being part of the Bored Ape Yacht Club community, I know that I have an audience that is developed enough and smart enough to understand what we're doing. Then by putting real life access to the yacht, basically, and issuing NFTs passes that will give you access to the yacht, you will definitely have something that is tangible and therefore that brings some seriousness, basically. And it was funny that the Bored Ape Yacht Club is a yacht club at the end, but there was no yachts, so it was very convenient that I had one. And then third, I believe the charity part, and this is something that will be disclosed later, but basically we're trying to go beyond just a pass on a yacht, but to go and build a whole ecosystem and the charity around the yachts, and ideally to be able to have other yacht owners come and join us. That's why our collection is called Board Yachts Club. So we're gonna go and board some yacht owners.
Are you worried about how wild apes will get on the yacht?
How wide? In what sense?
I feel like a bunch of bored apes and just NFT people, they party pretty hard. So we're definitely going to make some noise in the yacht community.
No, usually, you think that, but it lasts for like a couple of hours because you get drunk very quickly, and on a boat, it's always shaking. Like unless you're on these big cruising boats where people like party a lot, but this is like a more an intermediary size yacht, so it's a bit more shaky. So when it comes to partying, you'll end up in the water basically. And second, there is also this whole luxurious experience about it. It's not you can go and party, but it's a shame because you have such a nice setup in which you can have a very luxurious environment and the luxurious experience of yachting. For me, like I haven't seen anything or haven't done anything in my life that beats in terms of luxury this type of experience, because you're you're on top of the world basically. You have like your own home floating on the water, and a whole crew at your service, and everything is taken care of. You're getting entertained from the first moment you put your foot up till the last. You're getting treated as a king basically. So yeah, you can party also, of course, but most people party a little bit and then enjoy and relax. It's more like a kind of ultimate five-star hotel experience. You can party in this hotel, but it's a shame basically. And most of the partying is done usually on my boat is on land basically, where you use the boat to park in front of clubs, and in the clubs you have more people and more music, etc.
Got it. Do you want to talk about some of the events that we're going to put on with the yacht?
Yeah, so basically there will be two types of events: static events and dynamic events. So the static events are events where, first of all, the yacht is in the Mediterranean. If the NFT launch is successful enough, we'll be able to have like a dual season where we have summer in the Mediterranean and winter in the Caribbean. But for the time being, it's mainly based in the Mediterranean. And in the Mediterranean, there are static events where basically these are events that are around ports. So it's like the Cannes Film Festival or the Monaco Grand Prix, Formula One, or the Voile de Saint-Tropez, the boat race. 2 years ago, there were a flight competition done in Cannes. There are music festivals like Sanremo, and all these are usually spent or in hotels or on yachts, and the best experience is on yachts because when the event is is in the city and you're in the middle of the city on your yacht, you have the best experience and you can like hop on and hop off and invite friends over, etc. So it's a very entertaining way to watch an event. And the dynamic event is the cruising, basically. So most of these events will happen at sea, and it will not be events, it will be like private cruises with smaller groups, because on static events we can have like bigger groups, but on smaller events or cruising events, we have around 10 to 12 persons on board. So the experience is about water sports, eating, dining, sleeping in the middle of the sea at anchor, going and doing all the activities that you have on board, like snorkeling, sea bobs, flyboard, jet ski, you name it. Like the cruising part is the most interesting part and the most beautiful part, because if you're a sea lover, it's like you're in the middle of the sea on a boat and you can do whatever you want, basically.
What's the most beautiful place that you've been to on the boat? You have like a preference? Your favorite location?
Yeah, my favorite location is Sicily, actually, because you have some islands over there that are just amazing. You have one island that is a volcano, that is a live volcano called Stromboli, and basically you can approach by the boat and see the lava going into the sea, and you can swim, and the water is like a jacuzzi water, and it's in the middle of the sea, basically. So it's really amazing. And what's funny is that in this island, it's a volcano island that is very, very active, and and every 4 or 5 years there are people who live there who die because the volcano split too much at one stage, and there were some deaths, basically. And next to it, there is another island which is called Panarea, and this island is like the ultimate jet set island, but in a very cool and relaxed way, basically, where people you have all the biggest yachts of the Mediterranean that meet there, and on the island is a very very minimalistic island. There's not much going on there, so people go there in a very relaxed and casual manner. Everybody walks barefoot, so there are no shoes on the island, and you have nice places, music, restaurants, etc. And and there are like hundreds of islands in Sicily, and you can hop from one to the other, and each one has different aspects. You have one where you have like a very famous drug that makes you hallucinate for a week. You have another one where you have like these volcanic mud baths where you can take them and you rejuvenate, and on and on. It doesn't end, basically. There are so many things in Sicily, and the water is very nice, warm. I was lucky when I was there to see dolphins going on, so it was quite quite a cruise when you go there. And I would say the second one would be the French Riviera, because it is the most busy part of the Mediterranean, where you have like you can swim during the day, be on the boat, have very nice coasts to visit, and in the evening you have nightclubs everywhere, super nice restaurants between Saint-Tropez, Monaco, Cannes, Portofino. All this part is like it never stops. Basically, it's you don't have time to visit all the things that it has because there are so many restaurants, so many nightclubs, so many bars, pubs, etc. You name it. Shopping, unlimited amount of feel like Beverly Hills at the same time in New York and at the same time in Florida, basically.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like Europe's like the fun place to be.
When it comes to yachting, definitely. Perhaps
If
someone of the
anybody has any
listeners have a
questions,
question. Yeah, I was wondering the
yeah, if
same.
anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll call you up here.
Don't be shy.
Ja, do you plan to have any like Web3 events on the yacht? Like if we wanted to have like a gallery on the yacht, is that like a possibility?
Yeah, I was thinking of having eventually some dedicated spaces in the yacht and some dedicated events also. I was thinking of organizing eventually a yacht fest. We have someone who raised his hand. Hold on. Can you accept him?
Yeah, he's up here. Go ahead.
Already accepted, I guess. Hi guys, glad to be with
Hi.
you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep.
Okay, great. Very happy to be with you, and this is such an original and exciting project you are working on. Just wanted to know what is the agenda, and when do you think you will launch effectively?
That's a good question. We don't have a defined agenda yet. We're just in the build-up space. It will be disclosed in the coming weeks, I would say, and the launch will be in Q4, end of Q4, maybe beginning. It will depend also on market conditions. Now the market is quite difficult, so I don't think it's a good time to launch a collection now anyway. But it's a combination of us getting ready with all the developments we have so far, and yeah, Drew, do you want to add something?
Yeah,
Great, thank you.
no problem, man. Thanks for coming up. Yeah, I think like Q4 is definitely the goal. Just waiting for market conditions to improve a little bit.
Yeah.
And do we need to have a captain hat to be eligible for the project?
No, that's not necessary, but you need a captain's pass.
We should do something special for Captain Hat. So I see Chanimal down there with the Captain Hat. NFA, do you want to kind of speak of your journey about how you came in the board yachts community or in the ape community?
Oh yeah, sure. If I may share, uh, just entered the space after I sold my company, and I was actually bored, and so I invested in stocks. I had a bit of fun with what you were telling before, John, because I also invested in Amazon and stocks like this. But it was boring, so I take a shift to crypto, then from crypto to NFT, just because I was curious. And I guess I had the lucky pick in the beginning because 1 week after my arrival in the space, I bought a few apes just because the community was very active, fun, and because the people were quite smart and interesting. So my first pick was the board ape, so it was really a lucky pick. And then I stayed because the community was really great. For sure, I made a bunch of money on the during the journey from last year in May to today. But even if I flipped some apes, I've always I've always kept at least 2 or 3 apes in my wallet. So um, just to comment your previous assertion, I guess we can be a dolphin and flip some JPEGs and still be supportive and building in the community. So despite this flip activity, and I traded a lot of apes during this year. I guess maybe 70 or 72 apes.
Oh,
At the max, I had 14 apes. So, uh, but I've always stayed with the community and a growing community, and that was really great to see the project, people, and the evolution. So yeah, I guess we're still early, and we may have a bright future in front of us. But most important, I met a lot a lot of people in this space like never before. I'm quite an old guy for the space. I'm what they call a boomer, 42. So
welcome to the club. I'm a
uh,
boomer too.
the boomer club is awesome. um, it's a time of life maybe where you are focused on work, family, etc. And I tended to meet less and less people, and with this space, I've met a big bunch of people and very interesting people. We built the French ape community. We are now a bit more than 100 members. Um, yeah, that's it. The human journey behind the money flips, behind even the tech. The people are quite the most important. But basically, I really believe in the technology as a simple new form of contract that can really revolutionize the way we interact and the way we can exchange, sell, buy. But well, so um, I'm in here for a while. I hope so. And even if it's a bet, nothing is sure for the future. But I bet on a bright future for the Web3 and the people who will stay in.
Yeah, when you look at the dynamic, how it's going on, I don't. It's like discovering the internet or discovering something that has so much ramifications that are still unraveling. Yesterday's example was really mind blowing. How from a small JPEG you end up on NTV and organizing all these concerts with their avatars is like mind blowing. Who would have imagined that?
Yeah, even the space, the wall space, not only in my opinion, not only the JPEGs and the ape JPEGs, but the wall space when you dig in it is mind blowing and can change your view and your former views on what you thought was established. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, and I think the business in another way because of NFTs.
Yeah.
So really, it implies kind of mind shift, which is not easy to take, and which is quite exhausting in the beginning. My brain was really melting for months because of NFTs, and I had to rethink many things with this prism of view. You know.
Yeah, I totally agree. As an entrepreneur myself, it's like you open the Pandora's box and you start thinking, hold on, why this is not an NFT? But what if this was an NFT? And what if you do this, etc. And then everything becomes disruptible, and you start like seeing all the things you can do differently using the NFTs and the whole Web3 technology and the community, basically. So for us, like this project is a way to start something that can go very, very far. So it's unlimited how you can revert the business plan. So instead of raising money to develop a video game and then have players playing, you build up a whole community that is interested into something, and then you take it to unlimited prices, and you have a community that is much more uh, hopefully at stake and involved and building and taking you to the right direction. So it's not like you deciding unilaterally. It's like everybody is deciding and putting their input and helping you to get to the destination that you're going with.
We gotta do something with the French Ape Club.
Yeah, they're welcome on board, huh?
Yeah, we follow your project for sure. We've been aware, and as we are neighbors, so we keep an eye on this project for sure. And we've always been glad to support European and French and European projects, especially on start. So I I definitely hope to have a dinner on board, you know?
I think it can happen. I think it can happen. We just have to think about how we can engage all the French apes to have maybe a French event on board, or do something.
Yeah,
But
really would be great. And um, we are aware of this project, and we are really entertained to see this yacht connection. And this yacht context is how to say it's magic. Well, if we could gather some apes on the yacht, wow, that's the
yeah,
that's the goal, you know.
ideally, I mean, I thought about it. I like part of like getting the project known is eventually organizing something during an event. So for example, to have like selected apes that would be invited to attend a Formula One, for example, race, and then we would watch it on board, and or find a week where uh, there's an event around crypto, in somewhere around the south, and therefore it would make sense to invite or to do like a crypto or NFT themed invitations for people who showed interest to come on board, basically. But
Would be
yeah,
amazing.
definitely,
Thanks.
that would definitely could happen. And I mean, the whole project started by imagining the whole year on board, full in with people coming from all around the world and enjoying themselves, while at the same time sharing a common interest, which is NFTs, basically. So, and if you're watching whatever thing you're watching, when you're watching it with someone that with which you have a connection, on top of the themes that you're watching. So, for example, is if you watch an event with other French people, it's a connection on top of the event that you're watching. So if you're watching the same event with crypto guys, it's so much more than just watching the event. It brings it to the next level, basically, because you're talking about the event, enjoying the event, and at the same time talking in parallel about stuff that interests you and that you care about, and reinventing the world together. So it's much stronger than buying a concert ticket and going there, or buying during the Formula One, for example, to give this example, they rent terraces in Monaco, and you can go, or you can go and buy a place and watch, but then you will be sitting alone or with the friends with which you went, but around you will have like strangers. Here you have like people that you know that you share this interest with them. The same if you go on the cruise. If you go on a cruise, yeah, you're going with your group, but the other group are completely strangers. If you share something in common, it's automatically a conversation igniter, in the sense that you know that he's in crypto, so he's gonna easily talk to you, and you're gonna easily talk to each other because you have a first connection to take. And this, I believe, is very strong, and it's gonna completely change, because you're gonna see it more and more happening across all events, where you have communities attending events, not just events per se, basically.
I have to leave, Guy, but really thank you for this moment, and I will personally follow this project and its evolution. And you can be ensured that you will find the support among the French Apiot Club.
Thanks a lot for attending. We have to close the space too, because we ran out of time. Thanks everyone for listening, and see you next week.
See you guys. Thanks for coming out.
Take care.